morning, everyone. Welcome to the AI presentation. My name is Dwayne Trammell. I am a former city producer for San Diego, but for many years I've been producing the what was the 4 Points Film Project, which is now the Kickoff 48. I also produced the 48 AI competition, at least the first version of that in San Diego, and then also the 48 animation project. So I'm here with Jahil Nelson, good
Morning.
friend.
Thank you, thank you.
So Jahil and I first met, I guess probably 10 years ago.
Yeah, I'd say 10
years.
10 years. Yeah.
When I was hired by him at a video production company in San Diego, and Jahil is a phenomenal motion graphics artist and editor, and always has his eye right on the cutting edge of technology. And he was very, very interested in Unreal Engine, and but then AI came along, and he kind of rotated.
I pivoted. Pivot.
He pivoted.
We say pivot.
I'll say pivot.
Yes.
That's a good word. Thank you. So he pivoted to AI, although he still, is very interested in Unreal and still does that, but mainly his concentration is now on AI. There was, just to tell you the kind of person that Jahil is when it comes to innovation. Are you familiar with the video wall that they use for doing shows like Disney uses for like The Mandalorian and stuff, where they have a sensor that senses the position, the XYZ of the camera, and will be able to change the video to match that. Jahil developed once he saw that, he developed his own way of doing that. So that's like where on the technological spectrum he is. He's like way out there. I was gonna say EM word with the Tesla guy, but I know that's a sensitive name these days.
Yes.
So
that's the nicest thing you've ever said about me, Tony. Thank you. Thank you very much.
So one fun little thing that I wanted to try today, Jahil's mainly going to be running the show and doing the presentation. I'll be commenting periodically, but what I wanted to do, one aspect of AI is sound, especially music generation. So I thought it'd be fun to get a few prompts from you specifically about Filmapalooza, and show you how quickly I can make a song using Suno.ai. So y'all game for that? Sure. All right. So I'm gonna get a couple of prompts from you. So just shout out.
Improv.
Improv. Anything that you like about something that you like, some pleasant thing about Filmapalooza. Just a short. We'll do like 3 or 4 of these, and then I'll use those to develop the lyrics for a song.
Filmapalooza in Seattle.
Filmapalooza
itself.
Okay, good.
Filmapalooza in Seattle. That's the first one we got.
All right. Adrenaline. Okay.
Coming from around the world.
Around the world, I love that. And weather, for sure. Okay, and let's get one more.
Time crunch creativity.
Time crunch creativity. That's 3, but absolutely we'll do those.
This better be good.
Okay. Yeah. Jahil's put me on the spot.
Yeah.
All right, and then one last thing is, what style of music do we want to get? We can do dance.
Yeah.
We're all gonna dance.
Like club dance music.
Okay, like club.
Like EDM.
Club, like house music. All right, awesome. So I'm gonna get started on that while he's doing his presentation. I'll cue him when I have a song, and you'll be surprised. So my process is I'm putting these into a special prompt in ChatGPT. That'll give me lyrics. I don't have to do it this way, but this is the way. You can also do it directly in Suno. But I'm going to be generating lyrics in ChatGPT, editing those down because it always sounds like AI when you do that. Then bringing those into Suno along with the music style, and within minutes we'll have 2 versions of a song. All right, so this should be fun.
It better be good.
I present Jahil Nelson.
Yay. Good morning, and thank you for having me. I really appreciate that. And yeah, Dwayne did a good job introducing me. As he said, I kind of discovered AI, maybe 2 years ago, and just fell in love. and I've been using it, sometimes to make money, sometimes in my day job, but usually kind of as a hobby. Usually at night, I play around with stuff, and I'm going to share that with you today. I'm going to be mostly standing over here because I'm going to be controlling this deck, but this presentation is going to be kind of the current state of AI. It's not going to be me being like, hey, watch my AI videos, because that's lame, right? I'll show some examples and I'll talk over most of them. I have 2 clips I will play that are really short, but it's not going to be, watch what I made, because I think that would be kind of lame. So this is a quote that I saw a year and a half ago, and it kind of blew my mind. Jeffrey Katzenberg, who is the co-founder of DreamWorks, he saw a demo and just predicted that 90% of the animation industry is going to be reduced. And as an animator, you kind of go, wait, that's me, and it's a little bit shocking. And but at the same time, I'm like, well, I want to be part of the 10% that remains. So that's been kind of my motivation. And then we also have Tyler Perry, very famously stopped his $800 million studio expansion because he saw Sora and was like, oh, yeah, I'm not doing that anymore. There's going to be a whole new industry. Why am I investing all this money into an old paradigm? So we have that. I love playing this because this is, kind of the barometer now for where we are. So a year and a half ago, people saw this and said, oh, yeah, we're going to be just fine. I mean, that's terrible, right? We're not going to. And then, 3 months ago, this came out, and it's like, well, that looks better, right? And it's been a year. So, what happens in 2 more years? This is a commercial that played on broadcast TV. Obviously, it went through a lot of post-production and, got treated, past the AI, but, we're already seeing national television spots that are leaning into this, and I see this and I go, that's AI, right? So it's not like we're fooling anybody, but the fact that, and AI's been around obviously for longer than 2 years, but I'm just talking about it becoming, into the zeitgeist, becoming conscious of it, and people using it on a regular basis. We're only about 2 years into this, and we've already achieved broadcast status. Well, I'll play it again here. There's a couple. It's a little bit blurry. It's a little bit uncanny valley. That deer is a little bit low resolution. It's not like blatantly obvious. That just something about it is like that's the truck is sliding. It's not perfect. It doesn't look like it almost looks like fan video, right? Because this is a broadcast spot, but it's not very sharp. Just something about it, I would know. So yeah. So the question is, are we there yet? I would say no. We're not there yet. AI will not replace traditional filmmaking anytime soon. But it will continue to get better. And today we will see how it can be used to tell non-traditional stories. So that's what I've been focusing on, because I don't, whenever I see AI videos that are like real, I don't like them because they don't work. But I do like telling stories using other mediums that aren't necessarily real. So I always say there's 3 types of productions. There's a one-man band, which is kind of a jack of all trades, master of none. I do these productions sometimes where, it's just me. I'm doing the editing, the color, the sound, everything. The videos aren't very good, but they're usually low budget, so it's okay, right? Then there's boutiques, which is my favorite thing to work in. And that's where I work with like 4 or 5 people. I got an art director who's yelling at me. I got an editor who needs shots, and I'm just doing motion graphics. Those are my favorite projects. Those are the projects that come out the best. And that's what I typically try to work on. Then there's a studio, the factory. I've worked for Sony PlayStation. I've worked for Warner Brothers. I've worked for Sony Pictures. I worked in a large factory where, I just did eyelashes for character number 5. That's all I did. Not the funnest thing in the world. And so I think AI has the potential to elevate the one-man band and the boutique. I think you're going to see videos that a one-man band has done that looks like a boutique did it. And you're going to see stuff that a boutique did that you're going to think, was done by DreamWorks. And that's why I'm excited, And the examples I'm going to show you today is me as a one-man band. But my goal is to basically find like-minded people and become a boutique that uses AI tools to make high-end stuff. Maybe that's why I'm here. to find my kindred spirits. So there's basically two types of Gen AI. And I'm going to mostly focus on the cloud stuff because the local versions is definitely more tech focused. But you can either buy a really expensive PC and download a bunch of scripts and whatnot and run it locally. And the advantage to that is you're not paying for a subscription. There's no censorship or a lot less. I find it's kind of hard to do sex or violence using public AI tools, which is a good thing, but the advantage to local AI is you can do a R-rated movie. And then you have these cloud-based services, which I definitely lean on, and the advantages are they're more user-friendly, but of course they're subscription-based. I think I calculated what I pay a month right now for all my subscriptions. I think I pay about $110 between, all the different things I use. So, it's not cheap. So these are the daily things I touch. I use an app called Pinocchio, which I love. I'm going to show you a quick demo of that. But I used to install Comfy UI and Stable Diffusion and Light Portrait manually, watching these 90-minute YouTube videos. And if you make one mistake, you get to start over again. And it was just kind of a pain. But now I use Pinocchio and I love it. It's a one-click installer, really clean. And then as far as cloud-based stuff, I really lean on Midjourney for my image generation, Pika and Halao. I can never say that word. I'm gonna mess it up every time, but that's my favorite video generator. And then Suno, ChatGPT, and Perplexity. I kind of use Perplexity and ChatGPT together. I kind of like frame it as they're like rivals. Like, well, Perplexity said this to ChatGPT or vice versa, and I get them kind of jealous of each other and working really hard to outdo each other. So that's my approach. So this is what I said. This is Pinocchio. I just took a screenshot of. These are all the apps you could install. It works on Mac and PC. So you're basically it's going to install all the JavaScripts, all the stuff automatically. Really, if you're trying to just dive into AI and learn something, I would download Pinocchio. I would read these descriptions and then install a couple things. Everything from image, voice, music. There's basically generic versions of everything you see. Suno or Midjourney. They're all available here. So as Dwayne said, and you can turn this down. I'm going to talk over it. But as Dwayne said, he had a 48 AI competition that I entered. It was like my first real proof of concept, something that I could kind of work against. And this was early 2024. So the tools were really, really rough. So basically, I gave myself 48 hours to make this short. And going in, I did 10 dry runs because this was like before Christmas. So I was visiting my parents for Christmas and, for like 10 days. And every morning I'd get up and I would do a dry run of the whole workflow until I kind of determined what was going to work and what wasn't. And what I discovered was, consistency was a problem, right? It was hard to make one character consistent across the whole video. So I was like, I'll do an ensemble where every, it's basically a kind of a around town interview of a bunch of different people. That solves that problem. Realism was never going to be an option. I discovered that the Pixar look was pretty achievable at the time. So I kind of leaned into that. And so I told this story about a toaster product that basically destroys the world because it's, too intelligent. And it's just kind of an interview recap of how this all went down. And so, I decided not to shoot. Obviously you guys are all doing these festivals. You're like, don't shoot. Well, I've been a judge on a few of these and I just noticed that, the shooting is what takes most of the time, right? And so by the end of the day, you give yourself like 2 hours to do color and sound and all the stuff that really matters. Well, not really matters. It matters as much because the shooting ate up everything. So, doing an AI only cartoon-ish thing allowed me not to have to shoot. And I had a rough cut within the first 8 hours. So 8 hours in, I had picture lock, and it was just polish for the next, 30 whatever hours. I think I slept for 6 hours somewhere in there. And so, basically, I discovered this app on iPhone called Revive that would take audio and add lip sync. And at the time, there was no other tool that did that. Now, most apps do that. But I basically used this app called Revive. But the downside was I had to track back in these mouths on top of other generated video. You can kind of tell. So, again, it's crazy to say that 2024 feels like a decade ago in AI, right? Because I'm looking at this and I just wince, like it's so bad, right? But at the time, this was like what it could do, over 14 months ago, right? So that's how fast this is moving. And this one, best editing, best directing, and I came in second. I'm not better, but yeah, it's almost over here. So yeah, obviously having to create something from scratch in 48 hours, as most of I'm sure you guys have all done these festivals, it can be very, very stressful. That's why I did these dry runs. And I also leaned heavily on elements from Envato. And, I use non-AI tools as well. So I use Adobe Suite to sweeten everything as far as, After Effects and Premiere and Audition to deliver a final product. So I'll just let this play out.
The toaster that changed how we view toasters.
Oh, and I did have some real people do the voices. So that was probably the most stressful part, was involving other humans. And so, yeah, and that was nice. So yeah, I had friends do the voices and my cousin. And honestly, like, that was the most stressful part of it, was getting that back in time. Okay, so I'm getting my master's in screenwriting at Azusa Pacific. So I want to teach at some point. So I decided that was probably a good plan. It's funny, I went to a film festival at my alma mater, I can't say that word, in Savannah at SCAD. And I had a teacher that I thought was really old when I was there in 1998. And then in 2023, she was still there. And I was like, oh, maybe she wasn't that old. I was just a young, dumb person, right? But then it hit me. I'm like, wait, I can teach from 60 to 80, right? So that's when I enrolled in a master's program. And one of the classes I really loved was a 1-hour drama teleplay. So I wrote a screenplay called How to Break Up with Your Digital Girlfriend. And it's a script about the future of AI. And I used a ton of AI tools to develop this, whether I was giving the script to ChatGPT to get feedback. Like, I would ask it questions like, hey, do you understand the plot? When it would tell me it didn't, I would rewrite. Or when I have it explain to me what it thinks the plot is and it was wrong, I would rewrite. So I had this ongoing conversation. But also part of the class was creating a Bible and creating some marketing materials. And I went crazy there. I was just like, oh man, I need to go, I need to make this. I think the assignment was a 6-page Bible. My Bible was 58 pages. And I'll show that to you now. Cool. So yeah, like I said, I looked at the Battlestar Galactica Bible, and I was like, oh, this is really inspiring, because even before the show was made, I could see the show. So I decided to kind of lean into that, but use a lot more visuals. And I definitely, I made all these rules. I described all the worlds. I described all the characters. I had a history. I'm going to focus on the history part. I have a history of the main product. Basically, there's this thing called a Julie that, is like a real person with a personality, but it's like, the future's iPhone. Everybody has one. And so, in my story, it's about the next version of this Julie coming out. And I just wanted to go down to the history. But these are all the characters, and my teacher was pretty blown away by this. He wasn't aware of AI or its capabilities, but the idea that, when I pitched this story, so, here's the history real quick. She starts off as an iPhone app, version 1, and then it's a little more tablety, and then version 3, she's actually a real person, or, a real plastic person, gets realer and realer, until, here we are in 2040 and, almost indistinguishable from a real person, and so this story picks up where the new one's about to come out. I wrote log lines. I did a season 1 breakdown. I wrote the potential for season 2, for season 3. Kind of get crazy on season 3. We go way off into the future. I made up a fake board and a fake team that works on this project. I gave them all titles. I did a glossary of terms. All this stuff in about 2 months. Really leaning on AI for image generation, leaning on AI for copywriting, leaning on AI for just feedback. So that was a project that I was really happy with. So the next, sorry, one second. Oh yeah, so you can see that little animation I made. Oh, and I also made a website. So let me, and if you want to go to, it's howtobreakupwithyourdigitalgirlfriend.com. So this is the website. You can download the Bible. You can download the script. And again, I did a web version of everything I just described. So I have characters. I've never seen a website that had everything moving. So I kind of figured, and I did this website in Hostinger. That's how you say it? Which also uses AI tools. So I'm not a web developer at all, but Hostinger made it really, really, really clean and simple. So, instead of having stills like I did in my Bible, I converted every file into a moving image. Some more than others. So yeah, let me continue here. Howtobreakupwithyourdigitalgirlfriend.com. Oh, Hostinger. Yes. And I think GoDaddy has it now too, but just really intuitive, really easy tools. Like, I updated the website last night in about 3 minutes. So, yes, I got a thing in my thing. So here's another test I did where I discovered that Muppets are really fun to play with because you don't have to actually sync up the lips. You can just kind of, slip the edit around until it looks like it's synced. And I showed a friend this, and she was like, "This is amazing. You should make a whole kids show." So I did. So I'll just talk over this, but I made a 22-minute episode called Pink PJs, and that's Dottie. And I call her Dottie because she's not real. She's a bunch of dots on the screen. But 22 minutes is a lifetime. I only usually do short form. I usually only do like commercials or 30-second spots. So I gave myself a month to kind of do a Sesame Street format show where you have lots of songs, puzzles, games, something educational. And again, I promised you I wouldn't make you watch my AI videos, but I am going to show you my favorite segment. So this is Dinosaur Rap Battle, and this is 2 minutes long, so I'll just play this. But this is my favorite segment. This segment makes me so happy.
Oh yeah, it's that time for our dinosaur rap battle. Ready? Begin!
T-Rex is the best. Tiny arms never rest. Velociraptor runs much faster. He's the Dino Master. Stegosaurus will never bore us. Who's that singing? We're the chorus. It's the Dino Rap Battle. It never ends. It's a game we play with our friends.
I'm Rex, my friends call me, I ate my friends. When it comes to dinos, I set the trends. My rhymes are vigorous, I am carnivorous. My flow is dino rigorous.
Who's next to challenge this dino crown? Step right up, it's going down. It's the Dino Rap Battle, it never ends. It's a game we play with our friends.
But T-Rex can't even flex. And Stegosaurus, who's up next? If you're asking which dino will never bore us, it's time you meet Ankylosaurus.
Dynamite is dino right. I eat my vegetables all dino night.
Hey, you skip Triceratops, but T-Rex skips Arm Day and Pterodactyl flops. Try picking this Triceratops with the 3-horn section that never stops.
I'm Stegosaurus, my rhymes are glorious. I don't need a thesaurus to dino own this. My tail's ferocious, my style's Aquarius. Got plates on my back, that's Stegosaurus.
Let's give it up for Stegosaurus.
His rhymes are laborious and his fame's victorious. It's the Dino Rap Battle, it never ends. It's a game we play with our friends.
Yo, it's hard to say who's leading today, but the Dino Rap Battle is here to stay.
Third but not least, can I list a fact though? The #1 dino should be pterodactyl. Now give it up, this one's a spectacle. The sky belongs to pterodactyl.
Nothing rhymes with pterodactyl. Nothing rhymes with pterodactyl. She already used fact though, and that doesn't really rhyme.
It's dino rhyme time, who's the best? Every dino passed the test. Clap your hands, stomp and roar. Dinosaurs forevermore.
It's the Dino Rap Wars, it never ends. But also, this is the end.
Yeah, thank you. Like I said, that makes me happy, And so I did this 22-minute show where it has 5 numbers like that, and it has a guest and a host and it's kind of a variety show. And I spent a month on that just to prove I could, and it wasn't, I don't plan on monetizing this. Obviously, Jim Henson would sue the pants off of me if I did. But, I just wanted to do it as my next test. And I know we're pushing against time here, so I'm going to move a little faster. But I've tried to make AI that doesn't look like AI, that doesn't look like the typical montage of a story with no lip sync and just desperate shots. I see a lot of that on Reddit. So I try to avoid the uncanny valley of realism for now because it's not good enough yet. So a project I did just for this show, no one's ever seen before, is I took the opening scene of my script, How to Break Up with Your Digital Girlfriend, and I made a anime style video. So this is the video, and it's rough. Again, I said I'm a one-man band. Ideally, I would go back and work with a boutique and art director and remake this at another level. But this is just me probably spending about 40 hours trying to make this happen. So I'll just play this.
Look, it's simple. He wants out.
There is no out.
Sure there is. There's always an out. And I have the money for the date. Cost interest. Right here.
There is no out.
Look, I did the whole gangster thing. But you guys are a business, right?
You just call me a gangster?
What? Okay, I could see how this...
You're not supposed to kill him. Is this scene in that kind of show?
No, but something's off. This is way too nice of a server.
Hey, BT dubs, we're not supposed to shoot people.
Scan the building.
What the heck? There's like 5 guys with machine guns coming up the stairs.
This is a trap.
Looks that way. Don't see what options. I'm a bit creative.
Does the garbage chute work?
No, it's cosmetic.
Can you patch it?
Done.
I can't believe we're alive. I have never...
Call me Ishmael. Never forget this moment. I'm coming home.
Yeah, so again, if you had shown this to me 2 years ago, thank you, I would assume that I'd hired a couple of animators, and I didn't. I didn't hire anybody. And I, worked on this, in my underwear, in my own, office. So yeah, I will go a little faster because, yeah, I can see the clock. But my workflow for this was create the images in Midjourney, refine them in Photoshop, also using AI tools, submit to Halo or Pika to get video, and then record myself saying the lines, use Live Portrait to merge the video I created with me talking, and then do a final composite with Photoshop and After Effects, and then retarget the audio with 11 Labs so that's not my voice the whole time, and then Final Color, which I definitely did not spend enough time on, and then audio mix, and then editing. So that's kind of how I made that, and I did that just for you guys because you're special. And so the first thing you want to do is you want to create the looks for the characters, kind of get a guide for Midjourney prompts. This is me in Midjourney taking my images. If you guys have never used Midjourney before, I just wanted to show this to you. You basically have 3 different icons, and I think I freeze it here. Yeah, so you can see in the icon on the upper left, you can either pick this is a person or this is reference. I don't even know what the third icon is used for. I never use it. But I'm telling it, hey, whatever I'm about to prompt, use this person and use this background. And then I have a cheat sheet of what I always copy paste afterwards to kind of get the look exactly how I want it. So I always have an Excel sheet with a bunch of just syntax I can copy. And then I usually get the image. It's not perfect. Usually it's like the nose is wrong. So Midjourney has a built-in editor where I can go in and once again kind of type out a new prompt that says, hey, this is a young man's nose. And then once again, I can select that image and say, use this image as a reference. And then it spits out 4 more images, and I picked the best one. And I kind of went with this, I went with a really flat nose. This guy has a very flat nose. It's almost no nose, right? So when I see almost no nose, I know it's right. And then I up-res it, and I bring that into Photoshop. Oh, and this is me uploading that to Halo to make the video. That's the video that you get out of that. And then here's another example. So in this example, I used a Pika. Pika has a thing called where you could take 2 frames to make an animation. So I made the first frame in Midjourney, but inside of Photoshop's AI, I made the second frame, which is him turning into a digital, human. So I'm just playing this a little faster than real time because that would be really boring. But in Pika, you upload an A frame and a B frame, and these are all the different ones I got, And I basically, you can see the background's morphing, so I had to rotoscope that out and put back in the original background. But you can see that, these all came out pretty good. And I think I used like 2 or 3 together for my final. But this is the Pika workflow where you can say, it starts like this and it ends like this. And it kind of just goes, okay. So this is the final project, right? Yeah. Probably could have just said autoplay, right? Did we just do this one? Oh, okay. So this is just me showing an example of how I get the audio, the lip sync. And I noticed the lip sync was kind of not perfect. That was one thing I definitely would spend more time on. Some shots work, some shots don't. But one is I get the basic animation. So that's the original. This is me in my office saying the line.
Never
then
forget this moment.
Use 11 Labs to change the sound of my voice.
Forget this moment.
And that's the final product.
Never
so I render out basically the shot and me in After Effects, so they had the exact same timing, exact same resolution. You kind of want to give live portrait, which is what I'm using. Everything needs to be as close as possible, right? And so I just upload on the left. Here's the video without the right lip sync. Here's me lip syncing. Combine them, and this is a local example using my own computer and Pinocchio and live portrait to make this video. And just imagine it playing right now. So I hired someone on Fiverr to make a digital double. So that I did it. I lied. I did use one other person. This digital double looks nothing like my actor, but I'm like, it's okay. He'll be in the background. It doesn't really matter. It was $50. I think it's playing. Yeah. Okay. So I used Mixamo, which is a great site for mocap. You can basically calibrate an actor in like 10 seconds. I always test with a thriller dance first. That's him doing the thriller dance. So that's the fall I used, right? So he's falling. I was happy with that. I put that in Cinema 4D, which is what I use for 3D. And then I kind of matched it up to the shot, And so there's 2 shots in this that are not, necessarily AI, but this is what the final shot looks like, right? So he's falling through the, fire escape in the background. Yeah, so I actually did it. I caught up to myself in real time. Yeah, how much time we have? And Dwayne, you sent me the song, so let's play it. Let's hear this amazing song. I love setting.
Most of the work of doing this song was actually readjusting the prompt for Suno, so that it would interpret it properly. And I have not heard this, so first time hearing this for me as well.
Okay, well, I'm going to stall while this loads. All right, here we go. Ready?
Raindrops fall, but we're warm inside. Stories to see, and it feels so nice. People from the world, shining so bright. Tick tock, the clock's running fast. 48 hours, gotta make it last. Ideas Feel the vibe. Filmapalooza. We're coming alive around the world. We as one. In the rain, but we're chasing the sun. Heartbeat race, credit rolls. Neon lights, let the stories No sleep, no rest, just passion. Frames in motion, pure reaction. Final cut, the work is done. Now we dance till the morning sun. Great films, great minds, all in sync. Raise your glass, let's toast and drink. One more beat, one more shot. Filmapalooza, give it all you got.
Yay. Oh, sorry. Let me pause this. So thank you guys for having me. I just want to put my QR code thing up so that you can take a picture of it if you want to see more stuff. Or I put all my stuff on epiclog.tv, all my AI tests. So yeah, if you ever want to check out more stuff, that's where it is. I really appreciate your time. Thank you for having me. You guys are awesome.
Thanks, Jahil. Does anyone have any questions for Jahil? Yes.
So you mentioned how you were getting your master's in screenwriting. I wanted to know your process with integrating AI with screenwriting.
Yeah. Well, it would be very unethical for me to be like, hey, write my script for me, since I'm trying to learn screenwriting. At the same time, what I've done is I've said, okay, well, how would you write this? I guess my policy is this: I don't copy paste, right? But I do let ChatGPT take a whack at it, and I do read it, and then that informs my next pass, if that makes sense. Because honestly, there's some great lines in there that I was given, and I was like, oh, that's a great line. But was also this like 2-hour conversation every night with ChatGPT about my script. Like we were just going back and forth. Like no, you don't understand. This is what you're supposed to get from the scene. And then ChatGPT's like, no, I didn't get that at all. Maybe you should add this. And I'm like, you're probably right. So there's a lot of that where my writing partner is an AI, right? But I'm still the head writer. And I think that's what is happening in Hollywood, where you kind of see like, well, why aren't they hiring writers back? Why are they doing the same amount of production with less writers? I think what I'm doing, I did not invent. I'm pretty sure everyone's doing what I'm doing.
And what is it about? Is there something about chat that you can just not get chat to do?
No, it remembers previous conversations. It picks up. I say this a lot. I go, write it like Aaron Sorkin would. And it's like, okay, here's how Aaron Sorkin would write. And obviously Aaron Sorkin's an amazing writer, so I'm not saying it's achieving it, but to me, it's like giving it a goal of like what plateau I want it to hit. And then I take the best of that and kind of take it to another level as well. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Any other questions? Yeah.
I'm from South Korea. I moved here 1 year ago, and I'm not in the right position to like work in like film industry like actively. So like I was really fascinated by the idea that you can do all these things by yourself, like voice recording and lip syncing and everything. But the question is that what would you say the most important thing if you're making this whole media by yourself?
Don't do it by yourself. Start by yourself. Learn the tools. Find a small, and it could be 3 people, but find a small community. The best things are made by more than one person. If I watch a video and it's like bad, I'm like, I know why it's bad. It was probably one person, right? And even what I showed you today, if I had an art director yelling at me about stuff, it'd be better. And if I had actors, instead of just me looking at a camera saying the lines, it would be better. So to start, I mean, definitely, what I'm doing is I'm starting so that when I do get my boutique of people who want to use these tools with me, I'm not starting from scratch. I'm not going, okay, let's throw an AI together. No, I've done all this. I've gone all through the motions. Now I want to make something epic, but I want to make it with other talented people because, ultimately when you're a one-man band, you're spread too thin. If you're doing your audio mixing and your color and your compositing and your editing and writing scripts and doing the acting, it's probably going to be pretty bad, right? But if you can find 2 or 3 of the people and they, share that load, and their mindset is to focus on just the acting or just this or just that, it's going to be a better piece. And that's why I think this audience right here is the perfect place to present this. Because what I'm saying is the future is you guys making stuff that used to look like only Paramount could do. But instead of Paramount, it's 5 of you guys. If that makes sense. Yep.
Okay, I'm gonna try to ask this question the best way I can, and it's really focusing on like an artist, a writer, and like the uniqueness of their voice or what they bring to a script, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm trying to figure out like, why am I as the creative still important in this work as a writer? So, and here's the 2 comparisons I would do. So you got Kendrick Lamar and you got Drake.
Good comparison.
So I would think that Drake would be a lot more easier to kind of use his style, use AI to create a Drake-esque kind of writing, right? Because he has kind of like this routine cadence. Where I think Kendrick Lamar has a lot more uniqueness and creativity to his flow.
Right.
Would it be harder, and I would personally like to still be able to be like a Kendrick Lamar in this space.
Yeah.
Create voice. So would it be more difficult? Like, how do I maintain my uniqueness?
What I think you're saying is, how do I keep AI from stealing my soul?
Yes.
And that's the challenge. So you're trading a lot of other challenges for that, right? Because like I said, most of the AI stuff I see on Reddit or wherever, I play the first 5 seconds and I'm like, nope, I'm not watching this. I don't know why, but I hate it, right? It makes me mad, right? So I don't want to make AI that makes people mad, right? So at the end of the day, I got to make sure the AI is actually still representative of what I'm trying to do, with the story I'm trying to tell, and not just be like, look how cool this is, this thing, or I prompted ChatGPT and made a video, that's inauthentic and it shows. So that's a challenge. That's a challenge that I'm dealing with. Is I'm trying to bridge that gap where I'm still making work that's representative of my personality, but using these tools. And that is the biggest challenge. You're trading everything else for that.
Yeah, I would also have to say that chat and doing this process, it ignites your creativity. Because even if chat is generating something or Midjourney is generating something, you're making the decision on whether to use that and how to incorporate it into what your final goal is. So your creativity is actually being enhanced quite a bit by AI, because it's putting you in touch with things that you may have not thought of, or images you may have not seen before, or words that you've not combined in those particular ways. But that is another puzzle piece that goes into the mosaic that you're creating yourself.
Yeah, producing is choosing. I have a producer who always asks me, like, can I get this in yellow, red, black? Can I get it 9 different ways? And I'm like, producing is choosing. Just choose something, and I'll give you that. Sorry, go ahead.
So have you ever tried to create a background that you might use for an LED wall in a virtual production? And if so, what was the work?
Yeah, so it's so funny. I got hired by McKesson to do, not McKesson, Duck Creek. They're an insurance company to do a bunch of AI with ducks. So I had ducks in a call center. I had ducks on a pond. And their response was, this doesn't look like AI. And I'm like, yeah, that's the whole point. Because they wanted to be able to say they were the first company to use AI in a live event. So they hired me, and I did like 9 of these videos, and they're like, this is great. We're going to use it, but where's the AI? And I'm like, well, this is AI. Like, no, you shot some ducks in a call center. I'm like, no, I just used, what are you talking about? Do you hear yourself right now? But, I used my first project using AIs. I got hired to do they wanted a Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood back plates. So like going through toy houses and stuff. I could not find that anywhere on stock. So I made it with AI, and they didn't know. And so yes, I definitely have used AI to make background plates, to make passive environments that loop. It's a very. I almost put that in this presentation. Now I regret I didn't, but yes, I've definitely done that.
Jahil, we have to wrap it
Yes.
up, but are you available to talk in the lobby?
Yeah, I'll be in the lobby.
Okay, perfect.
Awesome.
Perfect. Everyone, thank you so much for coming, and Jahil, thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.